Hark, it is I, Alexandrus Inconceivablest, and today I shall regale thee with a tale of heroism, bravery, and Swedish fish. So give heed and incline your ear to the legend of Alexandrus and the great Golden Phoenix. Act 1, Scene 1. The scene opens in a busy Athenian market square, where men and women clothed in togas stroll casually through the stalls, shopping for their wares and conversing with one another. In the distance, elegant stone columns grace numerous temples, even one to the unknown badger god, who gave strength to the humble badgers in their time of need, such that even the most dexterous could not capture them. But that is a tale for another time. Alexandrus, his face clad in a masterfully crafted red and gold helm, speaks with Calebius, note, pronounced Calebius, Josebius, Noeticus, and Ben the Minecraft demon, about the affairs of the evening setting upon them. Calebius, Alexandrus, would thou be willing to accompany thy companions to the feast tonight? Alexandrus, no, Calebius, I fear I am unable, for a ferocious phoenix besieges the polis of my Carceria, and I know of no other willing to slay it. Josebius, but Alexandrus, could not the great golden phoenix be slain some other eve? Come now, drink and be merry. Alexandrus, pray forgive me, but even so I cannot partake. The great golden phoenix grows more powerful each day, and my Carceria is nearly overrun. I fear, should I wait any longer, my courage would fail me, and alas, all hope would be lost. Noeticus, perhaps thou would be willing to be persuaded, with the promise of much cheese? Alexandrus, may it never be! Never again shall I partake in the cheese I did but a fortnight ago. Such is worse than death. Josebius, I see that thou wilt not be persuaded. Come, Calebius, Noeticus, Ben the Minecraft demon. Let us scheme together concerning Alexandrus. Josebius, Noeticus, Calebius, and Ben the Minecraft demon exit left stage. Alexandrus, alas, that I can accompany my comrades to the feast, but who am I to struggle against the fates? I shall defeat the great golden phoenix and free the polis of my Carceria. Alexandrus exits left stage. Act 1, Scene 2. Alexandrus stands before the might of the great golden phoenix. Its fiery wings stretch the length of the stage, but still Alexandrus fights valiantly. Alexandrus, perish, beast! By the will of the badger god, I shall free my Carceria of your tyranny! Phoenix, foolish human, even the god of the badgers could not save you from my wrath. You have striven to defeat me, time and time again, yet victory has always escaped your grasp. What hope do you have that this time shall be different? Alexandrus stumbles and is engulfed by the flames of the great golden phoenix. Yet as the flames engulf him, a heavenly dove lowers to him the food of the gods, Swedish fish. Alexandrus partakes in the fish and regains his strength. He continues to fight the great phoenix. Josebius, Noeticus, Calebius, and Ben the Minecraft demon enter via left stage. Alexandrus, huzzah! Fear, great golden phoenix, for my comrades have come to my aid. Your reign of tyranny has come to an end. Josebius, we actually just came to watch you. Josebius, Noeticus, Calebius, and Ben the Minecraft demon begin setting up lawn chairs. Alexandrus, wait, seriously? You came all this way just to watch? Josebius, yep. Calebius, that's pretty much it. Alexandrus, well, that's a bit sad. Act 2, Scene 1. The great golden phoenix bears down upon Alexandrus, such that Alexandrus cannot but stand. Alexandrus, my comrades, I beg of thee, come to my aid in my time of need. Calebius, I cannot bear to see Alexandrus in such need, and merely sit idly by. I shall arise to his aid. Calebius stands from his lawn chair, draws his sword, and rushes in to aid Alexandrus in his fight against the great golden phoenix. Noeticus, it will not do for us to wallow in our comforts while another exhibits courage beyond his years. Art thou with me? Calebius and Ben the Minecraft demon. Aye! Calebius, Noeticus, Josebius, and Ben the Minecraft demon join Alexandrus in battle and begin to push back the great golden phoenix. Calebius, Alexandrus, thou hast fought the phoenix before, hasn't thou? Where must I strike to slay it? Alexandrus, one must succeed in cutting off the foremost feather from the top of its crown. If you do succeed, the beast will be greatly weakened. Calebius, 'tis a task for but a child! I shall succeed with ease. Calebius climbs the great golden phoenix and strikes the feather only for his blade to bounce off. It has no effect. Calebius, by the badger gods! What sorcery is this? Calebius swings once more, this time with the might of at least one badger, yet the feather withstands his blade. Phoenix, You are mistaken if you think I will be defeated so easily. My power is to make that which seems most simple the most difficult to overcome. You shall never free my Carceria. Act 2, Scene 2. Calebius, Noeticus, and Ben the Minecraft Demon all strive to break the feather from the crown of the Great Golden Phoenix, but his power remains too great for them. Josebius and Alexandrus battle fiercely with the beast. Josebius. Alexandrus, I fear we shall be unable to hold it out for much longer. Perhaps we should flee. Alexandrus. Never! My Carceria shall be liberated today! I swear by the god of the badgers. Josebius. There is no stronger name to swear by. Very well, we shall fight, and we shall triumph. Noeticus. Calebius, Ben the Minecraft Demon, let us strike at once. Perhaps we shall break free the feather of his crown. Calebius and Ben the Minecraft Demon. Aye! Noeticus, Calebius, and Ben the Minecraft Demon strike in unison, and the feather falls on the Phoenix's head. Phoenix. No! How could this happen? I can never be defeated! Alexandrus plunges his sword into the great golden Phoenix's heart and slays it. He stands triumphant over the Phoenix's body. Alexandrus. Might I make known to you the power that ended you today? 'Twas faith, trust, and pixie dust! Noeticus and Calebius. Well said, well said. Josebius. Indeed! Ben the Minecraft Demon. Okay, am I the only one here that thinks that was a little weird? No? Okay, moving on. Act 3, Scene 1. Alexandrus, Calebius, Josebius, Noeticus, and Ben the Minecraft Demon sit within my Carceria as the music of fiddlers blasts throughout the feast hall. Alexandrus raises his glass. Alexandrus. A toast to the liberation of my Carceria! All. Aye! Alexandrus. What? Paying for everyone costs $20? Cha-ching! 0.066 oculuses. And also, yes, Slurpees do count as part of the car cost because that was paid for most of the school labor. Now, on to things. I hope you enjoyed that, by the way. I think this was my favorite intros. After finishing up my last iPhone email, I slept. I know, it's crazy. Sometimes it's actually a hard task than you might think. The following morning, I worked on Discord for my new D&D campaign. Yay! And I went to work, and then I edited my last left email before Jonathan, my cousin from California, which the faithful among you will recall from way back, and his newly established fiancée came over for dinner. Also, why does no one listen to my It's Better Not to Marry speech? Because, like, seriously, I feel like I'm talking to a bunch of bricks. I mean, to be fair, perhaps I got to Jonathan a bit late because he was already engaged, but still, it's not technically too late. He could still technically change his mind without being morally compromised, probably. And the only collateral damage would be his fiance's emotional states, which will probably heal in time. So honestly, why does everyone seem like, oh, it's too late? It's never too late to do the best thing. Oh, and also, I should, make that into a shirt, because that's actually, a legendary quote. Anyway, so they came over. I found his fiancée tolerable, or slightly above, because she was more intelligent than Jonathan, so that was nice. But yeah, we had some decent conversations, and we touched on the good old classic of free will. Like, seriously, I dare you to give me a topic that's more controversial and so often discussed. Okay, wait, actually, I just disproved myself because gender. But still, free will takes a solid second place. Anyway, yeah, the time was decent. I then, after that, after talking with them for a bit, went to Mindmen, where we played Brawlhalla and Minecraft in the night. And to be honest, I don't actually remember doing that, but the contents of Monday nights are kind of, so standard that statistically speaking, it's a really good guess. So I'm just going to act as if that's what actually happened. The following day contained the advent of work before arriving home and conversing with the great and all-powerful William Varley. And William, being a very Welsh child that he is, provided a very good conversation, which I thoroughly enjoyed. After that, I went to Rancho Christi, where we talked until 3 in the morning. Don't ask me about what, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with Katie and about Catholicism, because that's our topic for actually just for later. And so it's a good thing. I'm not opposed. But yeah, it must have been at least decent because I stuck around until 3 in the morning. And also, Alan convinced me to recommit to them Catholic prayers, because I had kind of, fell out of those because life. So, yeah. Frost and shield, bless the Lord. Wednesday, I went to work. I worked in the Cult/D&D basement, watched some anime, and then went to youth group, wherein Josiah, a kid at youth group, approached me about some actually great questions, and we talked about those. However, for some unbeknownst reason, Joe just, stalked us the whole time, which was weird. I don't know, maybe he was trying to make sure I didn't, fill Josiah's head with heresy or something. When I got home, I did some Bible reading, read a paper that Alan thought was good proof ECT, but it was actually trash. Then I did a bunch of music scoring late into the night. The following day, I worked on the table I built in the basement, and it actually turned out quite well, I must say. So here's a panorama, but you can't see it because pictures. And to be fair, the table is not best represented in this picture, but you can still get a gist. Anyway, after working on that, I went to go get the COVID vaccine because I needed that to go to New Zealand. And I really want to go to New Zealand this upcoming spring. So for all you Kiwis out there, me and Ben are going. Like, we're super committed. So we're going to be, trying very hard to get over there during your guys' summer break. But when I got to Walgreens, they were like, sorry, Medicaid does not offer the vaccine. And so I look over to the sign. Literally right next to me it says, no insurance required. And I respond, but I thought you don't need insurance. The guy at the desk chews on his gum and says, yep. I wait a bit. So, will you give me the vaccine? Nope. I tear at my hair. Well, why not? The guy at the pharmacy spits out his gum. See, if you don't have insurance, you can't get the vaccine. Or if you have a different insurance, you can get the vaccine. But if you have Medicaid, you can't get the vaccine. How does that make any sense? The guy simply shrugs. Politics. I think about that for a moment. Yeah, okay, that's actually a pretty decent answer. Fine, then. I put my insurance card back in my wallet. I don't have any insurance. The guy starts chewing on a new piece of gum. See, but I know you have insurance, and I can't pretend you don't. That would be insurance fraud. I rail against the Reign bureaucratic system that I find myself instantiated in. Just come back tomorrow and tell a different guy you don't have insurance the first time, and you should be good. I cease my railing and look at the Walgreens employee. So you're saying you don't actually care if I have Medicaid or not, you just don't want to risk getting in trouble for insurance fraud. Pretty much. I shake my head. Figures. Yeah, that's fair. All right, bye. And with that, I walk out of the store. And yeah, that's basically how it went out. So after that, I went to a mess Science Hippies night. I must say the Science Hippies have not lived up to my initial expectations of them. They've been fairly disappointing recently. And then I got home and packed for my hike tomorrow before sleeping. The next day, I got up and went on an 8-mile hike with a decent amount of elevation. So, not hard in of itself, but there, was like a snowfield the entire hike. So, yeah, I fell into waist-deep snow very many times. I can't even remember the number of times I posted during that, but it was very, very many. And see, the other trouble was that each time I post-holed, my boots and pants were such that I would get a bit of snow in each of my boots each time. So, by the time we finally reached the lake, my shoes were absolutely drenched, and my feet were so cold. So, yeah, if you could see the picture, you would see there's standing water in my boot, because, yay. So, yeah, that was very freezing. But yeah, other than that, we did have a pretty good hike. AJ's ankle didn't like him too much, which was a bit of a big sad. But we did manage to have quite a few interesting conversations, which was bueno. There's a picture of AJ, Chris, and Cable, but you can't see it because pictures. And there's another picture of the leg, but you can't see that either. Man, if you could. Cable's face in this picture is actually fantastic. Other than we were smart enough to construct some waterproof socks, aka trash bags, on our feet. So that was a big smart. That way we didn't have frozen feet the rest of the way back. And also, AJ made a marvelous moss beard. I can't even say that. Marvelous moss beard, first try. And, it was pretty fancy. They're like all the height in fashion these days, so you should, obtain one because they're fancy. You should see the picture because it's great. After that we hiked back down. AJ didn't die, which was good. But we, did struggle slightly. But it was a good time anyway. After that, I finished the basement table, which was big yay, before doing some reading of the Duro Canonical books, and then spending the rest of the night sorting music. And then, if you can believe it, I finally finished the music sorting. In the end, I have 521 instrumental songs. Well, technically I sorted more than that, but those are the ones that made the cut. Into 61 different playlists, and each playlist with a different vibe. So, if you want the ultimate instrumental music collection, look no further than yours truly, because I have done a legendary thing, and it took way too long. So yeah, I think my Spotify account is called The Inconceivable One, because that's what I call everything. So, feel free to use my playlist, if you want to. Also, disclaimer, I share an account with my brother, so if you see explicit music, that's not me, that's Ben. The next day, I went on a hike, and joined the Retro Christy people for that. And I just figured out that they're actually friends and not disembodied minds, so who would have thunk of that, right? That was pretty good. It was definitely like the easiest hike in all existence, but the meandering did allow for good conversation, so that was nice. Katie claims not be able to see images in her imagination, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty sure strong. I'm not sure I'm buying it, we'll put it that way. She's like saying that if I said imagine an apple, she doesn't actually imagine an apple, she just thinks of the properties of apples. But I'm like, skeptical. Anyway, there's a picture of Alan, Katie, and the abomination as a child. It's not as if this child in particular is especially intolerable, it's just that all children are by nature abominations. Also, the child is owned by Alan, if you're wondering why there's a random child. But yeah, you can't see that picture, so big sad. I then pulled a journey on them in which I got everyone to share their life story with unbeknownst ramifications, which bit me later, but you'll learn about that later. And the hike was mostly taken up by Alan's recounting. But we did get to Katie and Liam later. I must say, though, if anything, I did experience, like, just how boring people's lives are. Like, don't get me wrong, listening to them was cool, but I didn't realize how, like, nothing happens. It's like Alan's childhood insights and, like, highlights of his life, well, childhood life, was, like, making peep reenactments of Greek classics, like Homer, for school. Which, don't get me wrong, is spectacular in and of itself. Like, that is a legendary thing to do. But still, like, that is not very interesting on the grand scheme of the things that have happened to me. So, you know, it was the same for Liam and Katie. They just kind of lived normal, routine lives with traditional school things and so forth. So, I don't know. It's just weird because I suppose I tend to think everyone has had just as an influential and crazy childhood as me. But I am clearly wrong. And, yeah, it was just striking how that was the case. So, anyway, yeah, that caught me off guard. But it was interesting. And I did appreciate the life stories. So, after that, we finished the hike and went over to Alan's house, which was the much nice. And then we did some more talking, where I got to hear Katie and Liam's stories, which was good. Once I got home, I worked on the dungeon table for 6 hours and used a giant pair of scissors I bought to cut through wood. And I will tell you that is quite tedious and not the way you're supposed to use scissors. My hands did not love me at the end of that. But yeah, I did that and succeeded. And then during that time, Jonathan and his fiance, as well as Morgan, my Uncle Doug, and Aunt Amber were over and had dinner. So I kind of just skipped on that to work on a table because that wasn't a meaningful conversation happening upstairs. And I'm like, why should I be a part of them? So it's not worth it. So yeah, that basically took up my whole day. The following day, I worked on the D&D room. Well, sort of. And then Joe and Noah kind of spontaneously showed up to quote-unquote help. And that's a strong word for what they did, but we use it. So yeah, we kind of just hung together and bought random stuff from the dollar store and Home Depot. Oh, and Noah used his own money to buy a light cover because he was so concerned about like us electrocuting ourselves because my band's janky, doesn't have a light killer, which I thought was great. So yeah, we got like a bunch of free books to populate the bookshelves, which later were very useful for my campaign. And we kind of finished putting the final touches on the room. And there's a picture, but you can't see it. Also, the entire campaign, like, so I have this like 30-something books on my shelf, right? And so I told the campaign members that there's a special book. And so they found this book with some random person notes in it. And they had like this whole like giant like theory about how it was supposed to tie in and stuff with this entirely set of random notes. It was great. Anyway, a story for another day, perhaps. Yeah, after we did that, Braden came over and we all played Smash for a bit, and I beat Joe because I'm actually good at Smash, so that was marvelous because I never beat Joe at anything in regards to video games. And then a really influential thing happened, which began a series of events that will possibly radically change my life forever. See, the Joe is an invasive species. In its natural habitat, it often stays and converses with one late into the night, and it has been known to use such low and underhand tactics as offering the irresistible delicacy of waffles to its prey. Hence, on one such night, when Joe had captured me in his stay awake talking until 2 morning web, he sprung upon me a novel and frankly unexpected idea. Namely, what if we went to Torchbearers together? Now, of course, my gut reaction was, no way. I lived at Torchbearers for like many weeks, and for around 2.5 years of my life, I was there, like on and off. And now you're proposing I pay to go to one? And yeah, I was like, no. But as the night wore on, and we continued conversing, I realized that perhaps my initial reaction was a bit hasty, and that it would be different Torchbearers, and I would be with Joe, a person I do find myself growing ever more fond of. So we talked it out, and I basically gave a tentative, yes, I would be interested response. However, this is going out of chronological order from here, so just, follow me. As the conversation continued, the fact that I am a poor boyo became even more evident because I am now even poorer since I dropped so much money in my car. So yeah, that loomed ever larger, and it was vastly improbable I could afford such a trip without some serious begging. I mean support raising, but that's just really what we call Christian begging. Anyway, that or working my butt off for the next 9 months and having no life. So since I, didn't want to do that, and plus I'm quite familiar with the Torchbearers curriculum, I was also not a big fan of paying money to basically go to school and to learn things I already knew. So, as we talked, an idea struck me. What if we and some friends made our own Torchbearers experience with most of the perks and with none of the drawbacks? So it turned out that Joe liked the idea, and we started talking to Caleb, Karina, and Noah, and we all decided we would, come April, go on what I'm going to deem a virtue retreat, wherein we will try and become the best people we can be, both in relation to the objective and the subjective and the interrelational, aka we're going to try and make ourselves super virtuous, try things we haven't done before, and also become boss with some friends. So yeah, that is the thing we are going to basically do now. because we're all pretty sad except for Noah because reasons which I will not discuss. So yeah, we're pretty pumped for that. I mean, it's going to suck because I'm going to have to try and do things I really don't like. But if it works, we will all emerge as gods, and that will be totally worth it because being a little G god is awesome. So yeah, the big thing that might significantly impact my life is that. The following morning, and this is going back to chronological things, that was just a tangent to explain. Yes, anyway, you understand. The following morning I went to work and then cleaned up the water jet, which I have pictures, but if you remember, that's an arduous task, although I did make record time. And I know it may not look that hard, but it really is. After that, I worked on memorized history and philosophy, which I hadn't done in ages, so I'm very glad I got to do that some when I got home that day. I also sent out the Life of the email and traveled to Caleb's new fancy house because he has moved out. And he can't be in Naomi and Cameron's house anymore because they're married now, and that'd be really awkward. So, yeah, we went to his house and we did Mind Men, which really has become more like Brawl Men, or Men Brawl. I don't know how you want to put that. But anyway, because all we really do is play Brawl. The following day I went to work, which was abnormal because instead of working for most of the day, I actually went to a corporate dinner in which we just sat there for most of the day. And in some ways that was better because I didn't have to do anything. But in most ways that was worse because I had a small talk, which is actual death. So yeah, I did that. And then I did campaign playing for a while and went to Ratchet Christie game night in which I spent much time playing Root and almost lost, but then won. See, I pulled ahead of everyone for once. It took ages to actually get this tribe, but I figured out how to play them. So I pulled ahead of everyone, and they all like gang mobbed me, and so I died because when you have 4 people killing you, you get pretty killed. But since everyone thought I was down for the count, I was able to crawl to victory as they all fought amongst themselves at the very end. So yeah, it was nice to finally win, even if just, barely. After that, we all talked into the night, as is per usual, and it became even more abundantly clear that I don't have positive reasons to be a Protestant. However, despite this being the case, there is something to be said for a reasonable inertia, wherein I don't become a Catholic until I have sufficiently positive reasons to convert, aka I need Catholicism to take out the burden of proof, which, hasn't fully lifted yet. But actually, guys, Catholicism is really reasonable. And while I remain Protestant, I am taking it quite seriously, Catholicism, that is, and I plan to be researching a bit to find out which is true. And just so you know, I am honestly giving Catholicism, Orthodoxy, and Protestant good shots. Like, I'm not, saying Protestant is false, even though that might sound what I'm doing. It's just, no one in Protestant circles is like, good job, Catholicism, so I kind of have to make up for the slack. So, yeah, I plan on researching that and spending much time. And, yeah, and as the conversation went into the night, I'd have to leave early because Esther called me, and I do try to take those calls when I can. So, yeah, then me and her talked until, 2 in the morning, and that was good. The next day, I skipped work as well as Grace's middle school graduation. First, because who cares about a middle school graduation? That's not even important. And second, because of a COVID exposure, quote unquote, wherein I knew someone recently and was hanging out with them who had COVID. And I didn't want to, put others at risks, aka it was a convenient excuse. But I did use the time well as I worked on my car during that time, and I did so very proficiently. After that, I ran my one-shot with John and Neo, which was kind of a pre-campaign training session, and that went pretty well, I must say. Both of them made pretty great characters, so that definitely helped. Once all that was done, I ran out of the night with some Bible reading, which was good. The following day, I spent a few hours trying to get my stupid power steering hose to thread. And seriously, these hoses give me way too much trouble. And then Ben even came out and tried to help me get it in, but after an hour and a half, we both just eventually gave up because it was so hard. It's like, imagine what would happen if you had a bottle and you had a cap. And you just spend an hour and a half trying to screw the cap on the bottle, and you know the cap fits the bottle, and you see no reason why the cap won't screw onto the bottle, but you just keep trying. That's what happened. So yeah, anyway, I was unable to get the necessary work done on my car for aforementioned reasons, so I read some Drew Chronicle books, and then went to a pub-type place and played ping pong with Dad, which was fun. And at the start, you see, I used my left hand, but then I totally forgot I was using my left hand, so my dad was beating me pretty handsomely, and I was like, what's up right now? Why is he winning? But then I remembered the great truth that I am not left-handed. I am not left-handed. That is a beautiful quote. And so, upon discovering that truth, I then beat him fairly well, fairly decently. And so that was a relief, because I'm actually better. Probably. I mean, yeah. I at least beat him well after I started using my right hand. Anyway, I'm not competitive. Don't worry about it. Okay, once I got back from that ping pong session, I watched some anime and then got Spotify sorted out because you see my whole family uses the same Spotify account, which is mine, but that's fine. And then Ben was playing music, and so I couldn't play music, and it was very sad, and then I figured out how to make things work, and it was great. Friday, I hiked and brought Benj of the Meyer variety along, and it wasn't too hard of a hike, and it was good that he came. And then after that, I ended up working on a D&D character until 2 in the morning. which was probably not the best use of time. Not too much happened the day after. I read some more Duke Chronicle literature and then attended Molly's bonfire, which was pretty fun. We played volleyball with a really flat volleyball in the dark, and we used car headlights to see. So that was cool. Sunday, I attended D&D as per usual. Played this Bible trivia board game with Neo, Sydney, and the gang, and then played some Halo after that, and then worked through some more Duke Chronicle reading upon getting home. Monday, I had work. Got to talk to Sela over the phone, which was actually great because it's been so long since we last talked, and it was a very good conversation. She has laughed more. Do I need to add context to that? No. Nope, that's all you need to know. Yep, she laughs more. Anyway, after that, I attended a mini moving in session with Braden, who was hosting this first try because he moved out of his parents' house recently, again, and was going to live in with John, D&D John, not other John, whose name is not Josh. Wait. Oh, shoot. No! It's Josh, whose name's not John! Oh, gosh. Oh, this is bad. Anyway, yeah, I'm really good at that. Anyway, I connected them, so they are now roommates. Oh, man, how did I get that wrong? And so the night set in. We played a bunch of Smash. It was good. It was, oh, man, I'm still disappointed I got that wrong. Anyway, I conversed with Jordan after that, late at night, who is now DMing his own campaign, of which I'm very excited because Jordan should DM his campaign. It is a beautiful thing for him. So that was a good conversation because we got to nerd out over that. Tuesday, I had more work, during which I came up with a brilliant Theodicy idea, which I think is pretty decent. So I wrote a short paper about that Theodicy, and then upon arriving home, I went to Rancho Christi, and we all piled in the car and drove to Scientology, which was also very interesting. So, yes, I will say that the Scientology trip was an experience. First, they have a really, really nice facility, impressively nice. But nevertheless, we were the only people there the entire time. We were there for 5 hours. So yeah, we watched some roughly incoherent videos, retook the Oxford Capacity Analysis, aka pseudo-personality test, and they got to talk to people about results, and my conversation with the lady talking to me was very unproductive. But, I mean, maybe she did not get impacted by what I said to her. No. And all I concluded is that Scientology is dumb from her talk. So yeah, it wasn't really a two-way learning street. It was more like I tried to be listening-ish. Anyway, sorry. I took that test the second time because I took it before, and you can see my results if you look on this thing, aka email. And they're actually pretty similar, so the test for something. Don't ask me what, but I test for something. I have a picture of their chapel, which is fancy, with Katie in the middle of it. I don't know why she's there. As well as the bookstore, which we're not supposed to visit because those books are stupidly expensive. And when they found out they were down there, they were like, oh, shoot, why are they there? So, yeah, you can see that if you want. The bookstore may not have been supposed to be seeing. And look at that. What are those called? Auditing machines. You can see those too. Oh, yeah, and I got audited, a.k.a. I used their quote-unquote religious artifact. So, yeah, I figured out this thing works super quick. So it detects slight changes in the amount of force you use when you're holding these cup things, so that when you're stressed, you inevitably tense up, and therefore this machine picks that out and says, "Oh look, you're spiritually ill in this regard." So I was able to figure that out super subtly, and I was like, "Oh look, the more hard you squeeze it, the more it senses things." So yeah, but then Katie comes along, not knowing I'd figured this out, and she's just obviously squeezing it, and the guy was not happy. He's like, "Stop that! Cease." So yeah. Yeah, it was funny. After we did that, we got to the really appealing part of the trip, which was the conversations. And we also stopped at a Waffle House to get food, which was actually fantastic. I liked that food because it was grits and ham and waffles. So yeah, that was good. And then we finally got home, as one might expect, and I eagerly went to sleep. The following morning, I woke up early and helped Noah, the Rancho Christi Noah, not the other two Noahs, because I have so many Noahs in my life, paint a house for a while. And it actually wasn't too bad as far as work goes. Though he has yet to pay me still. Thanks for nothing, Noah. And then it turns out that Noah is, super good at painting. Who would have thunk? He had this, fancy roller cleaning trick that I will actually remember forever because it was really genius. So, yeah, it was cool. But, yeah, here's some pictures of walls with paint on them. And I know you couldn't possibly be more interested. But, there you go. You get to literally look at paint drying. So, yeah, there's those, but I'm sure none of you will leave the audio to go stare at those. Once I got home and finished doing that, I went to youth group and then did a tiny D&D session with Grace and her friend Eliana before finishing an anime I was watching at the time. Thursday, I planned for the first session of my campaign, namely a Inconceivable Adventure, that is what I've deemed it. And then I executed that plan, and perhaps surprisingly, everything went pretty well. Joe and I then spent the remainder of the time, night, not time, playing Brawlhalla, and then we talked in his car for like 3 hours until 4 in the morning, because that's what happens with spontaneous car talks. And they are quite, enjoyable, but they're definitively hazardous for my sleep schedule. But they're worth it. The following morning, I woke up, and I read some paper on the Canada Scripture. I didn't finish it all, I just started it. And unfortunately, I watched quite a bit of anime, which I acknowledge was not the best use of my time. However, in the afternoon, my uncle did come up to Fort Collins, and he helped me, after working on it for an hour or so, get that stupid, death hose into my rack and pinion, which me and Ben had tried for so long to get. So that was a big happy, because that was such a pain. The following day was when Mom, Dad, and Grace were leaving for Georgia. So we went all, out for a family bova experience, which was satisfactory. After that, I participated in a D&D one-shot, did some D&D PvP, which I lost, but we don't need to talk about that. And then I talked with Liam into the night. The following Sunday, I was informed that the time-honored tradition of Lunch Bunch was finally returning to Southgate, and hence, so was I. So I went back to church, and it so happened that the day I came back was a super Pentecostal preacher, so that was great. I then attended Lunch Bunch and got to reconnect with some people, played volleyball out back for a few hours, and then spontaneously attended a cooking class, which I am deeming Cooking with Karina. See, as my harassers never failed to remind me, I can't cook. At all. Hence, Karina was kind enough to attempt to, remedy my ineptitude, and thus Cooking with Karina began. The experience wasn't too bad. I narrowly avoided wearing an apron, which was super sketch. However, Karina did successfully drill into my brain a few cooking things, as we made 3 pans of lasagna, which ended up being my demise, but we'll talk about it later. And then after that, I did a cooking pseudo class with Joe, where he quote-unquote taught, and it was more mercilessly directed me how to make brownies. So, yeah, that was less good, but tolerable. Joe is understandably not a permanent teacher at Karina's cooking class, because he would not have sufficient qualifications first try. Okay. After I did that, I walked away $34 poorer, because I, paid for lasagna. Well, actually, I technically used Mom's food budget for that, so I didn't really walk away that much poorer. And I walked, away 3 pans of lasagna and a bag of ground beef richer, which seemed like a good deal. However, that lasagna came to be my destruction, because I didn't think to freeze it. I forgot you could do that. Thus, in order to make sure I ate it before it went bad, I ate it for every single meal for the next week. And there was 2 exceptions in there. It was ridiculous how much lasagna I ate. I might tell you that you may think lasagna for every single meal would be heavenly, but it very quickly becomes a plateful of hell. There is no way I'm eating lasagna for the next 3 months. It was actually death. So yeah, here's a plate of lasagna. No, this is a picture of the things of lasagna, the 3 tubs, which I ate so much of. So yeah, after that harrowing experience, me and Joe concocted some virtue retreat plans, as was already recounted, before going over to Khalib's house for some Brawlhalla. Yeah, we basically stopped playing Minecraft, but I already told you about that. So yeah, if we never see it again, here's a picture of my giant obsidian tower, which I made. And you don't really get to see the scope of it. It's very impressive. It took me, oh my gosh, so long. But in case we ever stop playing Minecraft and I don't have anything else to record it by, here's a picture of it. It's in the top right corner. So yeah, the following day was the first day of me being home alone, and it didn't go that bad. I went to work, and then got my fancy Rasher Christie t-shirt, of which here's a picture. And I will tell you that whoever said that quote was very wise. Anyway, after that, Morgan showed us a movie called Jojo Rabbit, which was really weird, but the premise was actually quite good, and I think they did it well. Then later that night, I joined in with the gang, and we did some video games, as is standard Monday night practice. The following morning was work. I did some chores, because no mom around. I watched the old Sherlock Holmes movie with the Iron Man actor, which I hadn't actually seen until this point, and it was really good. I thought it was well. And I did that with the rest of the Christian group, and then everyone came over and talked to my place until late into the night. The following day, I did more work, stopped by home, and got some food before going to a friend of my mom's house to pick up some goose poop. Because, see, I need Musha money for the virtue retreat, so I boosted my hours as well, and begun, trying to get extra methods of income. I will tell you, picking up goose poop, glamorous job, top notch. After that, all 5 of us, Noah, Karina, Joe, Caleb, and I, got together and discussed trip things. Karina can go, which is good, and it was a big if at the time. But, Noah's odds are looking pretty low, 7%. Maybe we boosted 13. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that was a big sad, but also a big happy at the same time for different reasons. After that, I read through the Drew Kanaka books all the way. I finished them all. So yes, it was a lot of reading, but it wasn't that bad. As far as I know, they don't have any, like, inherent problems, well, except for, the whole Jonah conflicting account. There might be some historical problems. But, like, as for content, there wasn't something that couldn't be, remedied with the biblical canon, as far as I know, that I caught. So, yeah, if you ever want to know what the Deuteronomy Chronicle books say, I'm your guy. There are many interesting stories. I can regale you with them all. And, yeah, I also started reading a paper that was mildly informative about the canon. Thursday involved D&D planning, and then subsequently D&D, after which Joe and I talked for a while and watched some anime together. Friday was yet another hike with the legendary group, though two of the best people, namely Molly and Cable, were nowhere to be seen, which was a bit sad. However, AJ was still there, so that made it, like, a bit better. A lot of the hikers were younger, so it was a less composed group than I was used to, but it was still good. Ben and I rode up with Natalie, who turns out is a Mormon, aka LDS purposes, because they don't like being called Mormons, and I failed to realize that earlier, and also called her a Seventh-day Adventist when she said LDS for some reason, because I'd not made that connection, but then I fixed it, so we're good. So yeah, we conversed about that for a bit, and yeah, I got to rant about a lot of things to Zach's older brother upon arriving at the top. I think his name's Caleb. Anyway, so he and Oliver on the hike, we talked a lot about a lot of things, and apparently Oliver, I assume everyone on the hike is a Christian, but Oliver is definitely not a Christian. So I should have altered my pitch, if you will, because different faith system. Anyway, there was a slight, interestingly, form of transportation. See, we had to pass 16 people into a truck, and that was great, and totally legal. There's a picture of us, and it was a great experience, actually. I liked it. Also, the guy at the booth who saw us go through it, he looked at the front of the truck and was like, "You're good." And then as we drove past, he noticed all of us in the back, and he had like one of those like, "Oh, should I say something?" faces, and then let us through because we were already gone. So I'm pretty sure that you can't do that on regular, just because the guy made mistakes, which you could call a blessedly ordained providence mistake. However, anyway, moving on. I did manage to lose the trail as I got to the top, so I ended up striking my own, and I got this fancy picture you can see, which was kind of a big oof, but kind of fun too. Once we got to the top, it was pretty late, so basically the whole time was back in the dark almost. I did remember bringing my flashlight, so that was good. And I walked with Benj and provided a light for us both on the way back down. And me and Benj got to have a good conversation, where I got to hear about the start of his life. However, it was cut short by us getting back to the cars, so I'll be looking forward to finish that. But it was still good. And on the way back, sitting in the back of the truck and staring up the stars was honestly amazing. Like, I gotta say, I don't know why that impacted me so much, but it was spectacular. Like, it was pretty darn awesome. I saw like 3 shooting stars too. So if you ever get the chance, you gotta try it, because the sky just like spins around you and you can just see so much. It's just it's hard to describe, but it's great. Anyway, we got down. Natalie drove Ben and I back and then dropped us off at home. Nope, I dropped him off at home before heading back to my home, and then I hung with Joe some because I missed a party at his house. The following day, I picked up some more goose poop. Everyone conjugated in the cult basement, which is the one where Ben attended, and we did some more trip planning talks before we all head over to Joe's and watched the second Sherlock, in which I ate way too many Cheetos. See, the bag was right next to me, and I just kept eating them mindlessly, and it was such a bad decision. I felt so bad afterward. It's going to be another while before I eat Cheetos. It's like Cheetos, then lasagna. No, it's like lasagna. Lasagna is still, I don't know. Cheetos and lasagna are probably on par. Anyway, yeah, I felt horrible after that. At church the next morning, I tried to convince Noah's parents to come let him join us, but despite my intense rational faculties, I wasn't able to persuade them. 2 to 4 weeks is what they're saying, and they're not going to budge, so it seems. So that's very sad. I then went to D&D, which was good, and then Neo, Braden, and I all went over to my house and made burritos, which only lasted me like 3 days because I ate way too much. And then we played Smash in the night. The following morning, I went to work and started my new bonus hour schedule because I'm now working 15 rather than 9 hours. I know you wish you could be on my level. I stopped doing 9 hours because I need more money because trip is expensive. I then skipped Enemin because I need to work on my car, but then everyone just spontaneously showed up at my place after delivering me Swedish fish by drone, which was a weird experience. And I realized in hindsight, eating random Swedish fish attached to a drone really isn't the best exercise of judgment, but they were just hanging there, so how can I say no? So yeah, everyone just kind of brought lawn chairs to stare at me while simultaneously, talking amongst themselves and semi-mocking me. But despite that fact, it was still great. Definitely felt the love there. So yeah, I have great friends, even if they express that in strange ways. But yeah, this is the story was based off the play. So yeah, anyway, after that, after watching for a while, Caleb was like, "You actually need help." And I was like, "Yes, that would be lovely." And then everyone kind of followed suit because my friends are cool. So yeah, then after that, Noah and Caleb, and then even Ben at times, hence Ben the Minecraft Neiman, worked on trying to get this single bolt in, which I will tell you, if you remember way back, I already whined about this bolt. It is a pain. So they did succeed. It just took them an hour. So yeah, they now feel my pain. But yeah, we all tag teamed my car and got to the point where I could drive it, which was great. Still kind of sketchy. Also, no did not, or someone did not do the back bolts on my rear tire, which was big sketch. But it stayed on, so that's good. So anyway, we drove over to 7-Eleven, which was like a block, and then I got everyone Slurpees and a snack, because thanks, everybody. So yeah, after that, everyone came over, and we all watched the first episodes of the new Disney series Loki, which was tolerable. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, it's still like The Mandalorian better, but not by much. The following day, namely Tuesday, I endeavored to put my hand to the grinding wheel, literally, and labored for 5 hours to gain my daily bread, aka I went to work. Upon returning home, I bladed over to City Park where Rasher Christie was meeting up, and then Caleb and I destroyed, I cannot emphasize that word enough, Noah and Sean in Spikeball. It was like utter destruction, complete annihilation. There was no contest. So yeah, want to make that clear. But then we switched to the teams, and we had some good games. Anyway, after that, Noah shared a summarized life story, and then everyone came over to my house to play the stupidly complex game that took us 2 hours just to try to understand the rules, and even then we didn't, fully understand, despite us being supreme game nerds, and we all gave up because it was actually way too complex. So yeah, there's a picture of that, but it's not a very interesting picture. Also, Noah successfully solved my New Zealand Lego puzzle during that time, but Katie failed to solve it. Therefore, I'm concluding that Noah is officially smarter than Katie. So yeah, that's a new standard rating unless it can be overturned. Anyway, that night was kind of a bust, so that was a big sad. The following day I went to work and left early due to a power outage at my work, which without power you can't do much. I then worked on my car for some more time, played Brawlhalla and then Minecraft at the Minemen, and then talked with Joe for who knows how long, because the Joe is an invasive species, as aforementioned. Thursday I cleaned, and then I hosted D&D where the players, actually just one-shot my big boss, which was super sad because I didn't realize how hard it is to have a big party versus a spellcaster. Anyway, after that, Joe once more stayed over late, and we talked, and then we watched an anime together, and I'm telling you that Joe is still the most hazardous thing to my productivity in my life. And I don't know why I keep him around, but he's still here. Friday, I cleaned up more goose poop, which is a glamorous job, as aforementioned, and then I went with Caleb to donate plasma, but neither of us actually got to that stage because they closed early, which was a big sad. And as for why I'm donating plasma right now, BioLife is running a deal where they're like, we'll pay you $100 per donation, and that takes about an hour. Hence, they're offering $100 an hour, and there ain't no way I'm turning that down, especially when I need money. So yeah, I started doing that. And yeah, anyway, we tried to go. They were like, we'll get you through half the process. And then to Caleb, they were like, we'll get you through none of the process because you have allergies. So don't understand why that matters. But yeah, it was the first time me and Caleb hung out because after that we chilled. Just me and him. And it was good. We watched Kung Fu Panda and played Brawlhalla, and it was pretty good. I found a character that can actually challenge him. It was a 4-3, he and 4 and me and 3. So I did beat him in a recent 1v1 wherein my potential loss of using a single character was at stake, but I did beat him with, hardly any life. So there is a chance I am better than Caleb. It's not a very, it's like the chance I'm better than him is probably 40%. 40% chance. So yeah, anyway, we played that. It was fun. And then after that, Ben decided to convince everybody, including Joe and Caleb, to spontaneously drive out to the hot springs in Wyoming for reasons that were not just because it's fun. So yeah, it was a decent experience. There were some good conversations, which was a big sad, but still was mildly enjoyable. And it did actually murder my sleep schedule, so that was not a big happy. But yeah, I got to bed around 6 a.m, and then inordinately slept in because I thought the movie marathon at Neo and City's house the next day was an hour later than it was. But yeah, after everyone was like, Alex, wake up, and I did. I joined them, and we went shopping for snacks before watching a lot of Disney movies, namely Treasure Planet, Sword in the Stone, which, by the way, Sword in the Stone is a trash movie. Old Disney really sucked at its job. It had no plot. I was mucho confused. But yeah, after that, we took a hiatus where I got my life juice sucked out for the first time, and I have some pictures. Wasn't actually a bad experience. Everyone hypes up needles as the ultimate form of death, but they're really not that bad. So yeah, I watched them stick in, and I was like, oh, something poked me. So yeah, if you want to get a needle stuck in you, not that bad. I recommend, especially if it's for money. So yeah, if you could see the pictures, you would see a lovely picture of my hairy legs as well as machines. And I know you love my hairy legs, so you're welcome for that. After that, I then drove to Neo and Sydney's place and finished the movie marathon with them, wherein we watched Emperor's New Groove. I missed one movie, named The Big Hero 6. And we watched Emperor's New Groove and then Tangled, both of which are marvelous movies, but I think Emperor's New Groove is probably better because it's actually just a great movie. And as for why we did that, see my D&D group, this time including Joe, because he's just getting fully integrated here into all the friend groups. We had a Disney one-shot wherein we all played Disney characters to save the Disney princesses, which was actually surprisingly great. I played Kronk, and I got pretty good at his voice, not going to lie. I have a clip from the session, which I'll attach in case any of you want to hear it. And also, in case any of you think that D&D is Devil Spawn, you can listen for yourself and see what D&D actually is like, and not what it is supposed to be like, or rumored to be like, or at least what it's like in my circles. So yeah, after that, I slept because I was super sleep deprived. The next morning, I slept past church because I was super tired. And then I played some D&D and did another PvP, a D&D PvP particularly, in which I lost once more. I always lose these, which is really sad. I keep thinking I can win, but I can't. I joined in on the Bible study that night in Neo's house upon getting home. And then I cleaned the house and watched a movie with Ben and Morgan upon getting home. The following morning, I woke up early to get my car aligned, and the dude who did it was not a happy boy, so that was kind of a bit of a big oof. But after that, I went to work and then attended Mind Men, which of course lasted late in the night. And, the alignment cost $80, so ching, 0.267 Oculuses. And the following day, I got my tire fixed, which ching, is 0.067 Oculuses. And yeah, the tire was a much better experience because God's a Christian and he's nice and he's cool. See, after that, I went to work. I went to Restaurant Christie, where Noah's girlfriend, because he has one of those, helped us make stir fry. Now, not that I'm ungrateful or anything, but people really want to remedy my incompetence with cooking. I mean, it's like a life skill and all. I get that, but it's still kind of annoying at times because, sure, I suck at this, but do we really need to fix it? Anyway, we did that, and as far as a meal that's 100% vegetables goes, it wasn't half bad. So yeah, also Alan made this really weird fancy drink, which was good. I don't know if it was actually good, but, it was compared with stir fry, aka 100% vegetables, so it was good by comparison. But then when I drank some pineapple juice, it didn't taste nearly as good by comparison. So I'm not sure if it was actually, enjoyable, or if it was just, better than what we were eating. But anyway, yeah, did that. It was, I'm glad he put the effort in, even if it was slightly weird. It did taste, it tastes like you put Thai food in a drink. It was strange. Anyway, after that, they made me share my life story, because I made them share life stories, and that wouldn't be all that bad if it wasn't for the incessant desire I grow emotionally, which meant asking questions like, when was the last time you cried, which I would have preferred not to answer. So yeah, that was mostly death, but who knows, maybe healthy. But even still, that would only make it healthy death, which is not that great of a rating. So yeah, I lived through that. Hopefully the worst is behind me now. And then I ended up talking with Alan until 2:30 in the morning, which was really good. I do honestly value this conversation quite a bit. The following day, I went to work, and then went to youth group. And then everyone, including Joe, Caleb, and Morgan, came to my house and joined me and Ben as we watched through the entirety of Violet Evergarden, which I maintain is an amazingly done anime, despite its emotional and not action-packed nature. I want to make it clear that I like it for how well it's done. It is just masterfully created. Not that its content is the most enjoyable per se. So just, everyone was like, why do you like this movie? And I was like, it's really well done, because I had been previously watching things like Girls und Panzer, which is a show about a all-girls high school where they fight in tanks. And yes, that premise is slightly interesting, but I'm just saying that compared to the other animes I was watching, this one is very well done, and that is why it has such a high rating. Not because, its content is okay. So yeah, but anyway, you should watch it if you're willing. We're going to stop talking about that. Anyway, Caleb ducked out early because he had to go to work for the rest of the night. Nope. False. See, what I said there is that Caleb had to go to work for the rest of the night, but what I really meant is Caleb ducked out for the rest of the night because he had to go to work in the morning, which makes much more sense. But the rest of us, namely Joe, Ben, and Morgan, finished it out, and even those people who did not think it was that, entertaining, namely Joe and Ben, did admit it was very well done. So yeah, I highly recommend it. That Thursday, I donated plasma once more and then brought Ben and Morgan along with me, but because Morgan is a small female with baby veins, apparently, I don't know, she took actually ages. So Ben had to bring me home early because I need to make it in time for Joe's pre-session and D&D. So yeah, I ended up having, no plan time for D&D, but that worked out. It was okay because everyone decided to just, do things from last session. After that, Joe and I got snacks and watched some anime together, and then we went to sleep. The following day, this is the legend moment, oh praise the Lord, finally finished my car. In total, that car cost me exactly 5.469 Oculuses. And that number hurts my soul. Yeah, that's precisely $1,635.23 if you want to know. And that's, exactly how much the mechanic would charge me, give or take $35, if I had just taken it in to get, just the rack and pinion fixed. So, even with all my mistakes and with buying fancy tools, I save money. But then again, the stupid number of hours it took me and all the stress may have not been worth it. But regardless, by some miracle, I did finally finish my car. It was a tough journey. My car is finally fixed. And also a pretty decent mechanic now. So yeah, I'm planning on painting it red so that will, live up to the name, the new name. It has been christened with the Great Golden Phoenix. So yeah, that'll be fun. So if any of you consider drifting, because it's fun, just remember it might cost you $1,635, as well as 23 cents. As, including a small taste of hell on earth. So, just to encourage you. But just, when winter comes around, I'm definitely drifting. Just safer. Anyway, yeah, I definitely learned from my mistakes. Sure, yep, totally. So yeah, I finished the Phoenix. I drove to soccer, where I had a great time until I got a really nasty cramp, and that's what happens when you are a full-time couch potato. And then that night, unbeknownst to me, Caleb, Joe, and Ben, and Morgan conspired to visit a mine shaft and drag me along. But me and Joe did get to have some really good conversations on the way up, so that was definitely worth it. And here are some pictures of us eating in a mine, which you can't see. It looks fancy. There's a fire because we're wise. Okay, well, to be fair. So yeah, the fire plus enclosed space equals great idea, I know. But there was actually a grate above us, so it was okay. We didn't die of smoke. Also, I forgot this philosopher's name during that time, and it bugged me to no end. I seriously got to pick up the slack. I'll memorize his philosophy because Antisthenes, I will not forget his name once more. The next day, Neo and I went to donate plasma, but they wouldn't let Neo. So that was a big sad. And it ended up just me donating plasma. So yeah, I did that, and I went back to Neo's house, and we did a Disney one-shot, which was really great. As far as role-playing goes, the best D&D experience I've ever had. However, the combat was mostly death. Because, it was just a slog. But anyway, everyone did their character great, and it was a good experience. I then did dishes and talked with Sydney about some things she's into, and then I played Smash with everyone until 1 o'clock in the morning. The following day, I attended church, stuck around for lunch bunch, but it was, basically desolate. So that was a big sad. But after that, we head over to Caleb's graduation, namely me and Joe, and we played a lot of volleyball, which was mucho fun. But it was also mucho tiring, at the end at least. And I had some good conversations with people, and then Benj, Evie, Karina, Joe, and Caleb, and my bro Ben all went to Ben's favorite rock, where we just kind of chilled. And then Benj and Evie had to leave early because they have an actual, bedtime. But the rest of us stuck around longer and went into this junky cave and ate crackers on a mountainside, which was decent. Yesterday, I woke up, went to work, and then got the day off work, which, I used to work on this lovely life of the email, as well as sleep for 4 hours. And then I cleaned the house because Mom and Grace were coming back. And I also, I attended Mind Men quite late because I needed to do things. And we watched the next episode of Loki. Finally, as for today, I went to work. I got home. I greeted my female parent and my female sister, which I guess is redundant because sister already includes female, unless you're like a weird gender person. But yeah, regardless of my redundancy, I then skipped Rasher Christie to watch a movie with them and then worked on that email. That email meaning this email until now. And that, dear friends, is the conclusion of what turned out to be a way too long life of email because I just kept writing this back. But hey, it is done now, and you made it through. Unless you just skip to the end, in which case you did not make it through and you're the worst. So anyway, I hope to talk to you all soon. And if anyone would catch up, there are some folks I haven't heard from in actually ages, and I would love to hear from you. So if you're one of them, send me an email or something. I don't know. And yeah, sorry, this live email was way late in coming, and it's way long because it was way late in coming. But I did it. So yeah, I will talk to you all later. Farewell.
I guess the only thing I can do is learn from it and trust that